All right, now let's write code which will send the email to our user. So let's start with building the message, okay, or the body of our email. So first of all, we're going to ask the user to click on the link. So just to save time, we can copy the same code we used in the sign up file and just amend it. Okay, so we're going to ask the user to click on the link, okay? And basically, the reason is we want to prove that they own that email address, okay? And then the link is going to contain a few parameters. So you're going to have the link is going to go to activate new email. So that's a new file we'll need to create. So let's create that file for now. So activate new email.php. Okay, and let's open it. Okay. So the parameters are going to be the current email of our user. Okay. The new email and the activation key. So let's add the new email. So like that. We're going to use the URL encode function for the new email as well. And it's going to be new email. Now to send the email, we're going to use the mail function. So the email is going to new email, okay? And the subject, let's write something like email update for your online notes app. Okay. Okay, so you can write the email address on the sender, and if the email is successful, we're going to show a success message saying an email has been sent to new email. Please click on the link, okay, to prove you own that email address. Okay, so let's save this. All right, now we need to move to the activate new email file and write some code there so that the new email is updated or inserted inside in our users table if everything goes fine. So this file is going to be very similar to the activates.php file that we used before. So we can use that file. So this is the file where the user is redirected to once they activate their account. Okay. The process that we're building right now is very similar to that. So what we can do is copy the code from this file and use it in the new file. And just amend it. Okay. So the user is redirected to this file after clicking on or clicking the link received by email and aiming at confirming or proving they own the new email address. Okay. So the link contains 3 parameters in our case. Well, they are all get parameters. So we've got the email, the new email, and the activation key. Okay. So let's change the title of our file to new email activation. All right. And let's change this header to email activation. So first we're going to check if any of those 3 parameters is missing. So we're looking here at the email, new email, or activation key. So if we look at how we passed these parameters in the link, we can see which names we chose for each one. So we've got email, new email, and key. Okay. So email, new email, and key. So we're going to check if we're missing the email or we're missing new email or we're missing the key. Okay. So if any of those is missing, we're going to echo an alert message, and we're going to say, please click on the link you received by email instead of activation link. Okay. Now, if none of those is missing, then we're going to store them in variables. Okay. So we're going to store the email in an email variable. We're going to store the new email in a new email variable. Okay. And the key in a key variable. All right. But by the way, these variables are very different from the ones you find in that file, because we're looking here at a completely new file, which is completely separate from that one. All right. Now we're going to prepare these variables for the query. Okay, before we do anything with them. So we've got the email and the key. Let's do the same thing for the new email. All right. All right. Now we're going to run a query. So our query is going to update the email, okay, for our user. So update email, okay. But we're going to do that if certain conditions are fulfilled. So let's start with the conditions first, okay. So we're going to look at the email of our user, okay, and make sure that it matches the email received, okay, through the link. Okay. Also, we're going to check the activation to field. So we're going to check that and make sure it matches the key we received through the link. All right. So if these conditions are fulfilled, then we're going to update the email of our user. So we're going to set email to new email, like that. Okay. Also, we're going to change the activation to field, okay, to something like 0, for example. All right, and then we're going to run the query, and if the query is successful, we're going to show a success message. All right, so the query is successful means that we've got one row affected. So to check that, we use the function MySQLi affected rows, which checks the last insert, update, replace, or delete query was successful. In our case, we've got an update query. So that's the function we need to use in this case. All right. So if that's the case, we're going to show a success message saying your email has been updated. All right. And also we can invite the user to log in. All right. Before we echo these couple of messages, we can destroy the session and log the user out first. And also we can make sure that the remember me option, which is linked to the old email address, is destroyed as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So to destroy this session, we're going to use the session destroy function. And then we're going to go to the cookie which we set for the remember me functionality. So we're going to set that cookie, which is remember me, all right, to an empty value. And we're going to set the time to something in the past. Okay, so when you set a cookie in the past, that means you're destroying the cookie. Okay, time is right now minus 3600 is 1 hour ago. So all right, now if the query is not successful, then we're going to show an error message saying your email could not be updated. Please try again later. Okay, so let's save, okay, and try our code. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the current email to something else. In our table. And if I refresh the page, that's the current email. So I'm going to choose the other email address. Okay, so an email has been sent to this email address. So let's check that email address. So we can see that we've got a new email received from our app. So before I click on that link, I'm just going to check the value of the activation to field. So let's refresh this. Okay, so we can see that we've got a value which has been inserted there. All right, now let's click on the link. Okay, so it says our email has been updated. So now if we refresh the table, we're expected to see activation 2 turning to 0 and the email turning to the new email. So let's refresh. Perfect. So we can see the new email there and our activation field turned to 0. All right. So here we go. So we built all the functionalities related to our user changing settings in their account. Okay. We're done with the notes management as well. So the session has been destroyed basically. So I need to log in again. Okay. Here we go. So our notes management system is done as well. The whole sign up login system was created at the beginning of the project. So basically, the only thing that I would be adding later on is optimizing these forms when it comes to mobile devices. Okay.